40, 50 years. I've been a ham since 1976, something like that, in the Los Altos area. So it started out as the EMARC Club, and then it is currently now called FARS, Foothill Amateur Radio Society. So I was president of that for about 4 or 5 years until I could twist somebody else's arm. But so I miss that. You know, of course, it came from an area. Silicon Valley had a lot of techie guys there, and so far we're trying to get our little club up in the East Contra Costa Delta Amateur Radio. We're lucky if we get 4 or 5 people at a meeting, so it's really a thrill to be back and see that. So anyway, yeah, gonna talk. Excuse me, a little bit about Quartzfest. How many of here have heard of Quartzfest? Okay, good. So this is an annual event. It's been going on for about 20 years down in Arizona, and you'll flip the slide for me, show the next one. So where is it? It is, you know, you go down, I usually drive we have a motor home, and it's currently up for sale. It's got ham radio antennas on the top. But we usually drive down to Palm Springs and spend the night, and then the next morning drive over to Quartzsite. And Quartzsite, Arizona is about 17 miles across the border. And in the summertime, the population is about 2,500 people. And in the wintertime, the surrounding area of Quartzsite, it's all mostly BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, it can get up to 1 million people. There are tons of Canadians down there, but it is just motorhomes, trailers, everything, all around there. And you can, no matter what your hobby is, you can find a group that is like-minded. I first discovered upon it, well, probably about 15, 20 years ago. We were actually driving a motorhome from the East Coast back, and we were camping with a group of other people that had the same brand of RV. And I look out across the desert and I see all these antennas. I'm going, wow, what's going on over there? So, you know, we camped a few days with this one group that we were with, and then when I went over and discovered what was going on, we camped over there for a couple of days with all the hams that were out there. And as I like to tell people, when you're out in the desert like that, and all these different groups, because there's most people are into gem and mineral hunting. There's the rock hounds. I like to help people, if you're a single female trombone player, you will find a like-minded group out there. It's just incredible. You know, no matter, you'll see these little groups of people out in the desert camped around. There are 1 or 2 places with hookups closer to the town, but most about a 5-6 mile radius around this Quartzsite is just people out there camping in the desert. And, you know, a lot of 4-wheelers and, you know, off-road vehicles and hikers in the mountains. So it's that. Anyway, so you can drive out there to Quartzsite. What's the next slide?
The video?
Let's show the next slide first. Okay. Because this is what it looks like. Right, so that's what it looks like when you're coming over the hill and you're looking down the highway to the town of Quartzsite, and it's just got all the beautiful mountains and everything around there. So, and before I continue on with my slides, I'm going to show you a 7-minute video that's put out by the committee for Quartzfest. And of course, it's you'll recognize the voice of the guy that go ahead and play the movie. I became friends with Gordon West down there.
more than 800 people gather to join in on amateur radio workshops spanning everything from antennas to alternative energy, and we take part in activities that are fun for the whole family, such as arts and crafts and exploring the desert for rocks and quartz, and of course stargazing. No other ham fest in the country brings together in one remote gathering so much innovation in mobile antenna systems, mobile ham shacks, recreational vehicles with plenty of radios, portable and emergency communication systems. All of these you'll find at Quartzfest.
Pretty amazing. I got mine quite a long time ago.
It sets up in about 10 minutes. We've marked the places so you don't have to measure. Yes. It's sliding pieces. Slides in and out and a lock.
All week long, we're on the air. WA6VAQ, our special event station.
Okay, I heard a Kilo Bravo. I think it was an 8 there. Come back.
A Kilo Bravo 8 Hotel Juliet.
Quartzfest for the whole family. Campfires, a giant sing-along hootenanny, hiking, Tai Chi, cooking class, off-roading for cars as well as off-road vehicles, genealogy, quilting, coffee klatch, plenty of activities for kids and adults beside just ham radio.
It's also a chance to explore new ideas, to share interest and experiences, and to meet new lifelong friends. What makes Quartzfest so remarkable is that Quartzfest brings so much talent and experience to one location, not to mention the unique setting and off-the-grid living.
This is going to be one memorable experience. Thank you to all that make Quartzfest possible, and to learn more about Quartzfest, visit quartzfest.org. Coming up, more from Quartzfest.
My call sign is W6 Kilo Victor Charlie. And we're starting into digital. The system we have out here today is in the 70 centimeter band, and it is digital, and we're running about 1.5 watts of digital on cable channel 59, which is in the ham bands.
And Gordon was on the program, and he was demoing one of these SGC 230s.
It doesn't work quite as well in areas where there's a lot of wind around for the same point that he just made.
Oh, wow, this is fun.
Quartzfest live radio gear, transmitter hunts, digital, RV antenna walkabouts, working ham satellites, solar panels, DXing to the heavens, 20-meter Moxon beam building, our morning exercise.
That's right. Wonderful wake-up exercise and get in shape for all the activities, yeah.
And now you're ready for coffee and donuts, huh?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Good morning, I'm Frank, KB7IQ. We're out here at Quartzfest in January 2015, and we're getting ready for a four-wheel drive ride today, so we're going to go do a little bit of exploring and in the desert of southwest Arizona here near Quartzsite. We're going up to the Plumosa Mountains north and east of town here, where we're going to investigate some pretty good sized four-wheel drive roads and a lot of neat exploring through some pretty mountainous area and several mines. We're even going to get to go into a nice mine tunnel today.
For the hobo stew, normal, medium, hot, and flamethrower, Rick W7RAP working on the Dutch oven cookout that people brought their ovens.
Battery technology. Choosing and using the right coax connectors. Building a dipole, all about antenna analyzers. Solder your own Anderson connector. Automatic and manual antenna tuners. Emergency communications.
That's it in a nutshell. Now I'll show you my pictures. But yeah, the first time I went down there, and we were up to about 950, and one of the dealers there was donating a prize, a really nice HF radio. I can't remember what it was, but he said, if you get 1,000 people signed up, I'll donate this radio for the last raffle. Because they would every afternoon. In the afternoon, about 3:30, 4 o'clock, we'd sit around the campfire and they'd start the raffle system on that. But this is just walking around, seeing some of the different rigs, all the different setups that people had. It was just incredible, the different things. You could just walk up there and start talking to people and find out what's happening. One interest, that's Gordo's rig there that we just passed on that one. Here, we're sitting around the campfire in the afternoon. Yeah, that's Gordo's rig. And they bring in some toilets, because there are some people that just do some tent camping and set up. So they do have some toilets. In fact, pause it for 1 second, because I got to tell you a funny story. So they had some kids from one of the high schools, the junior high and high schools around, and they were teaching them to make these little transmitters for transmitter hunts, and just little tiny, circuit. And we had a fox hunt. We had set these all around different areas, and there's not a whole lot of places to hide things out there. So, be hiding on top of a tire, under somebody's RV, or one lady had hers in a little flower vase she had. But so we heard this story in the evening when they were telling the results, but there was one guy, he was not participating in the fox hunt. And he goes up to use one of the portable toilets. And he opens the door, and this woman jumps out and says, "You won!" He had no idea. She had one of the hidden transmitters. So that was a good story for that night. So anyway, we can continue on here. Yeah, they had all kinds of they probably give away 25 items a day, because people would donate all kinds of odds and ends of parts and things like that. And then they have a big raffle in the evening, but the main raffle, which I never stuck around for because it was interesting. They kind of wrapped up all the talks and everything on like a Friday, and then Saturday morning they had a flea market. And it's kind of, you're not supposed to be selling anything when you're on the BLM land. So they didn't really allow any, the BLM staff would overlook the fact that but if none of the dealers were allowed to come out there and sell anything like that. But then they didn't hold the raffle till Sunday. Well, most people were leaving. I'll bet you half of them had left by then, but you had to be there on site to get the final raffle. So most of us didn't stay. This last year that I was there was the windiest that I've ever been. And there were very few big antennas up. The weather was just so windy. Prior to that, you could spot us from anywhere in the surrounding areas. People had huge towers up there. So again, just more shots as we go through these. You can, and there were not talks just on radio. We had when e-bikes were just becoming popular. There was going to give a talk on e-bikes. Usually in the evenings, the talks were either on the history of the area, the native population, the geology of the area, stargazing. There were several people would give talks like that in the evening. So just everything imaginable. There was several groups there that operate these remote stations. If you don't have a station at home, you can get on your computer these days and log in and use somebody's station remotely. I know here up in the Brentwood area, N6RO has a remote station, but some of these stations are on the East Coast and the Midwest. Just anybody that has a station that they allow people to log in. Here's a guy looks like he's giving a talk on bikes. And they did, it was funny because if you didn't want to leave your RV, there was one guy, he was in the other video there too, but he'd set up his camera and he was you could watch it on TV. So he had it on channel like 59 or something like that. So it's like, if you didn't want to come out in person and sit out there, you could stay in your RV and turn on your TV. We were about 6 miles south of town. And so some of the years there would be a tractor that would come around, our big truck, and empty your tanks, your black water tanks, and get some fresh water. Otherwise, some people would just, if they were in the smaller rigs, they'd drive into town and get water and dump their tanks there. There was only about like 3 or 4 gas stations in town. There's like 2 or 3 supermarkets, a couple of restaurants. So in the evenings they get pretty busy. Now, and here they're putting on a talk. They had all kinds of lectures just on everything. Every day they would post on the bulletin board what was happening. And in the town itself, Quartzsite, every couple of weeks there was a different main event. So Quartzfest, the ham group is always there like the last week in January, and that's at the same time in the town itself when the RV show is going on. So we'll see some pictures later. In the town itself, they have these big white circus tents, and they have different shows. The rock and mineral show. They have different musical groups playing there. They have an antique car show going on. This is kind of all through the season. It's like November through March. And this they're getting ready for the. You bring a can of vegetables or whatever, and chip in $1, and then they go into town and they buy some meat and some breads, and then they take all the different canned goods that people bring and they make chili. And they have 3, it's mild, medium, and hot. Okay, spicy. And so that's always one event during the week that the group does. Here they are. Here are the cooks cooking. So yeah, there I am, and my wife and some other friends that we were camping with for the getting the chili there. Oh, these are called wall bangers. So you take some dough and you wrap it around these sticks, and you put that in the fire and cook it, and basically, and then you stuff it with meat or cheese or whatever. It's kind of making like a a hot dog bun and stuff it in. It was just a fun thing to do. People take that and cook it at the fire there. There we go. Oh, if any of you have not met, this is Randy, K6AGE, in the hat there in the back. He has tons of YouTube videos. I'm sure you've seen some of his YouTube videos. He lives up in Oregon now. He used to live up in the Sacramento area. I met him on an RV trip years ago before he moved up there. And Hootenanny Band is planned. Sometime we're going to get a close-up picture. You see this wooden figure here. There. Somewhere, one of the pictures has a. They had two, a male and a female, and they were, I can't remember what year when they first had them, and everybody was putting their name and their call sign on there, and they were going to do like Burning Man. On the last day, they were going to burn them. And then they decided, no, let's keep them. So they've been there ever since. I think it was probably like 2015 that they were going to do that. So now they just bring them back all the time, and people keep adding their call signs to them. Somewhere, one of the pictures has a close up of that I did. Here we're getting ready to do lining up to go out on the four-wheel drive trail. You didn't really need to have, you can have if your vehicle has got a high enough clearance and you had, let the pressure out of your tires a little bit, it was fine. But that was always fun. The guy that was leading that, I think I heard that this coming year is going to be his last time to lead it. He's been leading it for the last, 15, 20 years. But he's local, he knows all the local geology and topography of the area. But we line up at like 9 o'clock in the morning, take a pack of lunch, and because usually we get back like about 3 in the afternoon after driving all around different areas. One time we went out to, that's me when I was a little younger, and one of my friends, and we actually went out to the place where General Patton's forces trained this is during World War II. And they have a big training camp out there, and you could still see the rocks that were lined up, where the flagpole was, and where they didn't have any permanent buildings there. They had these, tent buildings but you could see the rock paths were still there. So that was pretty interesting seeing that. But yeah, we're just out exploring for the day. Give you something to do if you didn't want to sit at the campsite and talk radio. Yeah, keep going. I don't want to bore people with my pictures. Next.
Onward.
Next. Oh, there's Randy's setup. Next. Checking out the solar panels. There, that's Randy again and myself. It can be cool there, even during the day. Typically it was in the mid-60s. All kinds of antenna setups. I have something like that on top of my rig. I don't think I have a picture of it here, but I have a 24-foot pole on the top of my RV. So in the afternoon, they would have these different things. We'd walk around, look at different people's setups at their RVs, different radios that they had, or there'd be one group walking around, look at all the solar panels, because some of these, when we started doing this, solar was not that popular at the time, so people were learning about how to set up solar panels. Next. We brought our e-bikes down on that trip. Oh, I don't even have that car anymore. That was the car that I towed behind. There's the little Suzuki, the white one there. It's got my call sign on the back. Next. 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 Oh, here we're setting up to do some stargazing in the evening. Next. Oh, I actually bought that from this gal on the flea market. She had painted it just during the week while we were here, and it's a real nice background. So I have that painting from her now. Next. Yep, there it is. Good memories. Oh yeah, one night the space station was going over, so that's what we're doing, getting the stargazing, all the, so you can see the space station. Next. Beautiful shots. Next. Oh, here's the sign in. They never, just this last year, they started making an official charge of $5. Before that, they never charged, but they had a big DARB where people would donate. You could just donate in to cover a lot of the extra costs for, bringing in the potty stations and different equipment. And they'd always ask people to bring firewood, things like that, to use for the camp house, things like that. Next. There's the gal signing people in. Next. Yeah, that's Gordo's unit. That's what he lives out of. Next. Ah, here we go. So you can see everybody's call signs. They decided not to burn these two. Next. Ham man. Ham man and ham woman. That's what they call them. So, but every possible array you could think of antennas and things, and people were doing satellite. And of course, they had several different contests during the week. This is a week-long event. So they would have contests, from all over different types. And then several groups would go out to the mountaintops, do the POTUS and SOTUS, and we're going backwards now.
Yeah.
Okay, forward. Okay. There we go. They're kind of discouraging people now at night to do all these light up things. I had all kinds of lights and things on my antennas too, but they were saying it kind of distracted from the natural beauty of the sky when you have all of these. Keep going. Next. There we go. Next. Kind of funny trailers. Next. There's my RV. I have a flag on it, and then you can see my pole that comes up off the top there for HF, and the little one in front of it. So one of the tents set up. They usually have about 3 or 4 tents set up around the area for different discussions on different topics during the daytime. At night, they had basically one big one, but it was usually the nighttime topics were not ham radio related. They were more, like I said, about the sky, about the local indigenous people, and the topography of the area and the history of the area. There's the nighttime group. Everybody's got their coats on now. It cools down. Hey, what are we talking about tonight? Something. But that's when you need the portable projector, and they would just show the screen would be just mounted on somebody's big RV. Next. Looks like a little Tai Chi or something going on. Next. Another talk. Next. Next. Yeah, a lot of people had drones, so we get some drone shots. This is one guy. We were kind of camping the next gully over from where the main camp out was. Oh, is this a, I think this is a video. That one's definitely a video. But you can see here, this was called Q Mountain for Quartz Hike. And we hiked up the top of that. And so you can kind of see what's looking around the town there. But all those little tents, I think some of the people had set up like a portable shower. Not supposed to leave anything. Everybody was very good about that. When you leave, no, no water out there, no trash, no garbage. Leave the desert like it was. Everybody was really good about that. So we did not have any problems with the people from, there was like once in a while you'd be, I guess, an officer, or usually there was some kind of volunteer usually working for BLM, to kind of check people in. Because technically you're not supposed to camp more than 14 days. So big deal. You just move a little bit. You can't stand in any one spot more than 14 days. Oh, here's one of those groups where you could log in, from your computer and use their radio equipment from anywhere in the world. There's the daily bulletin board, show you what's going on. And people would also on the backside post if they had stuff for sale. Like I said, they did have, well, we had Saturday morning was busy. Okay, this is in the town itself, right up, not really downtown, but there, besides this big white tent, there is all of these set up. They have it's like a flea market, and it literally, if you stopped at every booth, would take you about 3 days to walk through it. And people come there. This is not ham radio stuff. It's just everything. I mean, there are people that come there from the Midwest selling honey from the Dakotas, plants, clothing, a couple of more of the permanent stores at all kinds of, oh, you name it, anything. So that's kind of, we were parking with a group called Sam's Radio Hams. Most of them are California, Southern California. I belong to them too. And we would kind of park by ourselves, a little, maybe one gully away from where the main camp was meeting. But there are all kinds of different radio clubs down there too. But yeah, the town itself, like I said, they've got the flea market there that runs, it's there all winter. And then the big white tent, I'm not sure if that's the big white tent in the background behind that flag or not. But there is a big circus tent where they have different shows going all the time. But we're always down there when it's the RV show. Next, you can keep going there. Yeah, there's just up on the top of Q Mountain. Oh, this is the guy that leads the 4-wheel drive trips around the area. I think he said that this coming year was going to be his last time to do it. Here's one of the potlucks. Keep going next, yeah. At 10 a walkabout. The afternoons we have these, they call them walkabouts. Talk about different stuff, people to show off their equipment. This guy in the hat with the white beard there, that he's a character with his parrot walking around all the time. Yeah, just keep rolling through these. Oh yeah, that's my rig. And that's the, this is a Saturday morning flea market, I think. And that way, and hams would come in from Arizona and a lot of other places that were not staying out here, but they would just come in for the flea market. The ham radio flea market that was out there. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed that. And I'll take any questions if anybody has about Quartzfest. So if you're into camping at all, I encourage you to give it a try. It's fun.
Were you able to walk from your campsite to the main group?
Oh, yeah.
You weren't that far away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Just, it's like being out in the park. It's just we were right there. But the main, all of the ham radio people were within a quarter-mile radius, I should say, because when you're setting up, especially on your big towers, you can't all be right in the same place. But yeah, we were just like, there were one gully over. It didn't take us 5 minutes to walk into where the main campfire was. Anything else?
Is this at all coordinated with any other events like field days or soda or POTA, anything like that?
No, not that I know of. As I said, they've been doing it for like 20 years. It's always like the last week in January. And they do have, there are groups that leave from there that go up to the mountains around there and do POTA, sodas, different things on their own. But it's not coordinated with any other big agency or anything. It just kind of grew over the years. I mean, it started out, and usually, I don't know how many years have been going on before I started going, but when I first went, it was probably 400 or 500, and then it grew, like I said, right, the year before COVID, we got up to 1,000 people that were there. And then, of course, we didn't do anything for 2 years. And then it's back. Last time that I was in, this last time, I think we had about 750 registers. So it's building back.
So when you show up, is it a free-for-all then to find a space?
Oh, yeah. Some people will come there, a week before or 2 weeks before. And in fact, it's the kind of the people that coordinate it, okay, that there's a group, they get there somewhat before. And a lot of time they're people who are not ham radio operators camp around there. And they just kind of warn them. They say, well, next week is going to be a big group. And a lot of people then will move out. They just don't want to be part of that. They think they're out there all by themselves. They found this place where the campfire where we normally use it's a nice spot. They're in there and they go, well, yeah, you can stay, but just know that a couple of days from now, there's going to be 500 people around here. And then you go, well, I think I'll just move out in the desert a little bit farther. So yeah, the ham radio people, a lot of them get there early and stake out different areas. Or no, in the last couple of years that I've been camping with Sam's Radio Hams, somebody will get there early and set up, a place for, a dozen RVs and dozen rigs for people to camp. And again, sometimes people are there already, and we try to, well, we're gonna take this section and they'll maybe tape off, park some cars around and then tape off an area. And so, and then last time we were down there, I mean, there was one couple that didn't really wanna get involved. They wanted to stay, and they said, we're gonna stay here. We said, fine, you can stay there. Come on over and join us for our potluck, But after 2 days, they left. All right.
Can I, just one?
Yeah.
I want to say, hello, I'm Rich, 86X.
And
I've been going down there for 20 years.
Oh, cool.
And we've never met, because there's so many people. I just want to say, if anybody is interested in going to Quartzfest and you want to hook up with a group, I go, my wife and I, KJ, Zitzi, and go. So get in contact with me and we'll hook up with you down there and show you the roads.
Great.
How much room do you have in your RV?
Not enough.
I'm selling mine. My wife has said she's getting tired of RVing and ours is up for sale.
Rich, you're no fun.
Oh, I got a tent.
Well, Peter, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for today's presentation and doing so. We'd like to honor you with a mug from Lorick. And thank you for our presentation today. It was very informative.